There is a challenge. That challenge is ERP implementations are getting more and more complex every year, and teams are often find themselves lacking the talent on hand when and where it matters most. And I will tell you, coming from the world of ERP and channels for the past 15 plus years myself, and my father for 25 years, the problem really exists in some of the more mature ERPs in the US, probably around the world. Odoo is fairly new in the US. That share of market share is going to grow with Odoo. I have every belief and firm belief that that's going to happen, but right now it's not so much. The problem that will come on hand with the partners and with customers, anybody who's looking to find Odoo talent right now for the project they need for that candidate, for that customer next week, they're going to need that. And they're going to have to find it one way or the other, whether that is finding people at a university and creating a little university alliances with these companies all over the country, these miniature things, whether that is stealing from other partners, your competitors. Regardless of how it is, they're going to have to find that talent or they're going to go under, unless they're deciding not to scale. So I was wondering, of those of you out here who are partners, and I don't know if there's any, I see Odoo shirts, so I know it's not you guys, but of those of you who have Odoo practices, do you, by a show of hands, do you think in 5 years from now, will your Odoo practice be bigger, about the same, or smaller than it is today? By hands, let's see if you think it's going to be bigger. Yeah, Edward's right here, so we all know Edward has to see that sign. How many of you think it's going to stay the same? Nope. How many are going to shrink? Right, everybody's going to grow. And as that happens, the law of supply and demand says that you're going to need that talent. So, I have a good friend, Jeremy Housekeeper. You're going to learn about Jeremy Housekeeper and Shell Wagner over my course of my presentation here. They are two people that I've worked with extensively and are good friends, professional friends of mine. Both are leaders in the ERP world. Jeremy comes from the VAR background as an ERP VAR, growing his practice, and Shell comes from the end user community, growing construction companies, but being a very power user of a number of ERPs, including Informatica, but others as well. They had some sage advice. Jeremy says, when your ERP team is already underwater, it's too late to start to hire. We'll explore that a little. I run a staffing practice. I also run a recruiting practice. My staffing practice is the majority of my company, so I am providing contractors that are specialists in ERP to my customers, which are VARs, and our customers. When I say VARs, I mean resellers of ERP. Some of them are what I call ISVs, which would be developers on top of ERP, but a lot of them are utilizing my contractors on an as-needed basis. Because I do that and have been doing that for so long, there are certain pitfalls that I have seen people recurrently fall into that I want to put out that you may avoid. So that as you continue to grow in your ERP side and your Odoo practices, and whatever practices that you have, and you need to use contract employees, or you need to hire permanently, I want to give you a little bit of intel about that. Number one, if you're waiting until you're at capacity to hire, then you're over-urgent hiring. I have a company that I work with. I'm going to reference a lot of companies, but I don't want to really say their names because I don't want to out them that way. I don't have that permission. But I will tell you that there is a company that I've worked with who said, hey, we've got 4 deals that are going to be closing anytime within the next couple of weeks. 4 deals. So I really want to be able to utilize your services, but I got these 4 deals and I got to wait. So we waited, and we waited again, and it took a little bit more time than he thought. But 3 weeks down the road, 3 of them closed within a week. And when 3 of them closed within a week, all those clients wanted to start the requirements gathering and get all the architecture set up and get things rolling with meetings, and they had not the capacity. Because their team already was pretty utilized, and now they have 3 new clients who need a lead implementer or a lead architect to go in and do the requirements gathering and all that and get started. So then he was in reactive mode and had to run out and try to grab people, and when you are hiring in reactive mode, you're in trouble. Another one. Relying too broadly on full-time hires. I am not an advocate for just hiring. I think you can staff too quickly, you can grow your company too quickly, and there's negative ramifications. However, I do think there's a strategic way to use contractors and to activate your current employees. For an example, if you have projects that require you to do a lot of the more, I would say, the menial tasks, say data migration, report customization and building, things that a lot of people, that you don't need the highest level of expertise to do, and it's a lot of stuff that requires some knowledge. If you are taking your best employees and having them lead those projects, plus do all the reporting, and plus do all the migrations of data and all that stuff, you're spreading them so thin that they may not be doing the stuff that they're best suited to do. They may be able to go in and do that high-level stuff better than anybody you could ever hire, whether they're contract or full-time. But if you're utilizing them to do the kitchen sink, then you're really in trouble. And one way that you can really avoid that is the use of contractors, the strategic use of contractors. Because what a contractor can do is come in and take on the menial tasks, allowing your high-paid players and your very high-level people that you have employed, that you have invested in, to save the fun work for them and save the stuff that they can do for that. And then you avoid the employee burnout that can come with that. Believing in the myth of the perfect hire. I have, it's another company that I've worked with in the past, they were trying to hire, and they were very particular on what they wanted, but it took them 8 months to make a hire. And it was 17 candidates in that they finally made that hire. 17 qualified, good, really good candidates to make that hire, but it was perfect. And by the time they did it, what they originally wanted, they didn't need that anymore. So the person they took in the best person, but then they needed to like MacGyver the role to be what it is they needed now. So the kind of like the opportunity had come and the ship had sailed by the time that they actually hired the person they needed, and that person came in, and it could have been so much more strategic and better. Another one here, ignoring culture fit when urgency strikes. When you are hiring under the barrel, you have the need, you need the people really quick. When urgency strikes, starting your team build-up efforts at that point immediately puts you in a reactive mode. Rather than a proactive strategic, now you're in a reactive firefighting emergency mode. And when you're doing that, you take a big risk. Because when you're hiring employees, whether they be full-time permanent or whether they be contract for you, it is so important to make sure that they are aligned with the concept and the vision of leadership, and that they get along well with the current team that is, and they understand how the team works as a structure, as a comprehensive body. And if you can do that proactively rather than reactively, you stand to gain a whole lot. Shell Wagner, he's the end user guy I was telling you about. You can have the A team, but if they can't collaborate for whatever reason, be it they don't understand the vision, be it they don't get along with your people, they don't understand what your people are doing, then everything's for naught. Because you will lose your people, you will lose the project, you will lose your customer, the reputation of the customer. There is a better way to do this, and that is, as I'm saying, strategic use of contractors, not reactive use of contractors. What do contractors offer that full-time employees don't? Well, speed and flexibility. Speed because they already know what they need to know. They already have the expertise, they've been in your industry, they've done this before 20 times. They can jump into it. Flexibility because they have 5 hours a week if that's all you need. They have 40 hours a week if that's what you need. And maybe you need 5 hours this week and 40 next week. You can scale them back and forth, whereas you have to put your employees on the bench. Not to say, I'm not advocating specifically for staffing only, that that's the best way to go, but I'm telling you, this is a very good thing if you can use a strategic approach and do the homework first and get it done right. It can be an extreme advantage for you as you scale in a very dynamic environment that we live in. Second one, relief for overburdened teams. You've got a lot of work and your team members are full up. That contractor who can drop in, take the load of all those reports loads off of the back of your person so they can go and do that next check-in with the customer. That's golden. Focus on legacy support or special projects. Again, let's say you're doing an upgrade from another ERP. So you want to have someone who's going to be migrating and doing all that stuff in the product that's the old product. You're going to have them prepare stuff and get things ready for the upgrade. Have your people working on the forward vision stuff. have them thinking about Odoo, not Dynamics GP as they're migrating. So you can use your people strategically this way. Strategically hired contractors complement and not compete with your internal teams. This is about hiring with intention. It's about putting in the effort and the thought first before you go out and just being a firefighter and being reactive in how you do it. This is also from, I think it's Shell. Contractors help you to go live without burning out your team. A well-vetted contractor can move faster and be more aligned than a rushed full-time hire. And that is a well-vetted contractor, not just a regular, someone you might hire off the street. A little bit of a case study for you. So I had mentioned I wasn't going to say names, but I wrote a name in there, so it is. This is Jeremy. Jeremy's company is Premier Tech Partners. Jeremy Housekeeper is the practice leader of their Acumatica practice. It's interesting because I have helped him along the road, and he's also been in the industry for a very long time. He had kind of the perfect storm where he had a couple of projects that were going live just at the moment, right at the moment when one of the people had a death in the family of his lead architect. There was a death in the family. Another two of them, for whatever reasons, I think they were poached away or something. He lost within, I think it was a week and a half, he lost his 3 top people, and he only had like 4 top people. He completely lost those people. Unexpected staff loss. His response was to lean into a trusted contractor network. And what I want to say about this is really important, I think. If you're thinking about utilizing human resources for your delivery, or whatever it is that you're working on, development, delivery, sales, when you're utilizing your people, unexpected things happen. The monkey wrench gets thrown into the machine now and again, because that's life, right? Nothing happens the way that you would expect it to. So we always adapt. But if you have something like this, what Jeremy did in his case was he took, let's see if the next one says it. So he took the previous several months to work with me to start vetting contractors. To say, hey, I don't have a need for you at this very moment, but I think I'm going to have a need for you soon, and I want to make sure that we're aligned. So he treated them like full-time hires, and he came in and vetted the heck out of them. Rather than just hire, like many people hire contractors, he actually ran them through a process. Through that process, those contractors were able to understand and show they understood the leader's vision, the way that they do things around there, and get excited about what it is that they were doing. And then what he got to do was be able to know that should something happen, there was someone that he could pull on. He did this with 8 contractors with me, and so we had 8 on the bench, 8 of them. And as a result, when he lost his people, we were able to throw these people onto the projects that he had. And as a result, he was able to maintain the timelines that would have never been able to have been met. He protected the client relationships because now he's not the company that didn't hit the mark, didn't hit the deadline. And of course, avoided team burnout when there was only 5 other people who were trying to do the job of 9 people and couldn't do it. Those people didn't take off because, the company was ruined. So he was able to really make that into a win-win. So, talking about building a bench before you need it. Proactive planning always beats reactive hiring, as you've heard. Contractor onboarding is not instant. It takes time to absorb culture. You always think about a full-time permanent hire as like you go out and you start the interview process, and then your team interviews them, and then you come back and you gather, and then you come and maybe you bring them in for an on-site, and then your team collaborates again, and then you have to do assessment tests, and then they're finally in, and it takes about a month to get them through that onboarding process. But when you think about contractors, can you do that with them? I don't think so. I mean, I've never really seen a company really do that. They usually okay, I need a contractor. Thanks, great, we'll put them in. But if you can treat your contractor onboarding more like a hire of a full-time term, then you've got a resource that can be more sticky for you, but also provide that flexibility of not being a full-time term person. There we go. Yeah. Strategies around this. You might take the time to map your future state roles before you're overwhelmed. While you have a little bit of lag in work, if it is a little bit slower right now, you could be taking time to think about what am I going to need? In the scenario that I lost a key person on my team, what might I need in resource and in expertise out in the world? And go out and see if you can't draft that job description, make it a role. And now you've got a resource, whether you're going to be talking to a full-time person that you're going to hire, or whether you're going to talk to a contractor, you're going to have a document that says, here's exactly what I need. And a lot of contractors really like that because it shows them that you're serious, that you have an idea, you have a mission and a vision, and you're not just like throwing them into something that you're just like trying to fix. So this is a real key way to go. Vetting contractors when you're calm, when you're not scrambling. Absolutely. That's so key. When you're scrambling, you make mistakes, or you rely on your guts, which a gut is a great thing. As a recruiter, Lord knows I use it plenty. But a gut is not 100% foolproof. And if you can supplement or back up your gut with some concrete work and effort, then you have a really powerful combination that's going to find, you're able to properly vet those people that you really need. Integrate them into your longer-term team vision. Take that time when you are interviewing, whether it is a full-time or a contractor. Take the time to share with them about what is your vision about the company, and all of those things that you would give to a full-timer. Take time to give that to your contractors too. Quick question for you: how do you currently fill your urgent ERP talent gaps in your organization? For those of you who, when you have an urgent need, you hire a full-time permanent employee, raise your hand if you know. And if it's not you to hire, then you can talk about what you know about your organization. That was you. Okay? How about those of you who would engage a contractor in those moments? Yeah? How about a mixture? Mixture of both. Cool. How about rapid upskill current team members? Getting your current team members quickly up to speed. Yeah, I get you there. If you can do that, that's awesome. Key takeaways and resources from today. Contractors, they're not a patch. They can be firefighters, they certainly can be a patch, but you can think of them more as a strategic planning tool rather than a patch. Cultural alignment matters just as much as technical skill, and this is true for hiring, and this is true for contractors. Good hiring is strategic, not reactive. And see these little QR codes, you're welcome to use these. One of them on the left. One on the right, Jeremy and Shell's story. This is I had a webinar where I had a really interesting conversation with both of them, and we really went to depth here. They were giving really important details on that. You are welcome to watch that on my YouTube channel. And on the left there, my company has written a mid-market ERP salary guide for the past 10 years. I want to make an addendum to this, is that Odoo talent does not earn as much as other people in the US as external people. Generally speaking, there is a difference between what someone in the other mid-markets are earning and what an Odoo person is earning at this moment. So I want to tell you, this salary guide is very accurate, it's very good, very popular in the areas that I've been working in the past with people. But in terms of Odoo, I would recommend you consider that Odoo talent is really 20 to 30% under what you will see in that, from my experience in a lot of conversations I've had and a lot of research I've been doing. So, we'll open up for all your myriad questions that I know you have. I know you've got them. Does anybody have any questions? Thoughts? Observations? Anything happen differently than what I said in your experience? Awesome, you loved it.
Covered everything
Did
yesterday.
I cover everything? Cool, awesome. I hope you enjoyed it. I don't like the giving information over. I like interaction, so I try to do that. But thank you so much, everybody, for coming and seeing me and listening to me. I really appreciate it, and I'm honored to be part of this community as I come forward. Thank you.